Imagine waking up in the year 1200. You're hungry, your stomach is growling, but you aren't allowed to touch a single crumb of food. In fact, if you ate right now, society would look at you with total disgust. They might even call you a sinner. For centuries, the most important meal of our day was actually considered a sign of weakness or even a crime against God. So how did we go from banning the morning meal to making it a multi-billion-dollar industry? And why do we use such a literal, almost violent-sounding word to describe it? Welcome to the subject history. To understand why we call it breakfast, we have to go back to a time when the world was ruled by the church and the rising sun. In medieval Europe, people didn't just wake up and pour a bowl of cereal. They lived by a strict religious code. You see, the word breakfast isn't just a random name. It literally means breaking the fast. But back then, that fast wasn't just a few hours of sleep. It was a spiritual battle. During the Middle Ages, eating early in the morning was seen as a lack of self-control. Priests preached that if you couldn't wait until midday mass to eat, you were giving in to the sin of gluttony. Unless you were a child, an elderly person, or a manual laborer working the fields, eating in the morning was shameful. You were supposed to keep your stomach empty to keep your soul pure. Imagine going half the day doing back-breaking work without even a piece of bread. But this is where things get strange. As the centuries passed, the world began to change. People moved from the quiet farms into the noisy, busy cities. The Industrial Revolution arrived, and suddenly the human body couldn't keep up with the demands of the clock. Workers were heading into dark, dangerous factories for 12-hour shifts. They realized that if they didn't break their fast before starting work, they would quite literally collapse. The fast was no longer a religious choice, it was a physical barrier. And so the morning meal began to creep earlier and earlier into the day. But even then, it wasn't the feast we know today. It was simple, a bit of ale, some cold bread, maybe a piece of cheese. But no one expected what happened next. The transformation of breakfast from a shameful snack into a hero meal wasn't an accident. It was a masterpiece of marketing. In the late 1800s, two brothers named Kellogg changed everything. They didn't just want to sell food, they wanted to change how humans lived. At the same time, bacon companies were struggling to sell their meat. They actually hired doctors to tell the public that a heavy, protein-rich breakfast was the secret to health. Suddenly, this sinful meal was being sold as the most important meal of the day. We were told that breaking our overnight fast with eggs, bacon, and toasted grains was the only way to be a successful modern human. It's fascinating when you think about it. Every single morning, when you sit down at your table, you are performing an act that would have shocked your ancestors. You are breaking a fast that was once sacred. We kept the name breakfast as a ghost of our religious past, even though we've completely forgotten the fast that gave it a name. Today, breakfast is a moment of comfort. It's the smell of coffee and the sound of sizzling pans. But it's also a reminder of how much our culture, our jobs, and our very survival have shifted over time. We went from fearing the morning meal to making it the foundation of our lives. If this story changed the way you look at your morning plate, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the subject history. Every word we speak and every meal we eat has a hidden past, and history like this should never be forgotten. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next chapter.